What's up is down, what's left is right. Chasing stars and holding you. I can't see the end, but we'll see it through. Dangerous times, don't fly too high. Be sure to keep the ground in sight. Fly forever if you keep it tight. Love the world, but keep the sky on your mind.
Well, hello everyone. Into flying with Mike. Making sure this song isn't gonna kick. It looks kind of weird on the screen. Sorry. I was trying to hold off the song there. And here we are, folks. We're picking up a flight now. Guys over here at Twitch, y'all didn't see this flight that went from Adelaide, Australia, down under, over to Melbourne. So we're going to pick it up from there. And today we're going to be in Clipper colors, Pan Am. The 747-200 Clipper Gem of the Ocean, I think it is. Or is it Gem of the Seas? Let's see if we're able to read it. Of course, I'm probably wrong on all accounts. But anyway, there she is, number November 730 Papa Alpha. All right, so with that, we are planning just kind of a little hop. Like I told y'all, we're going to start seeing this plane a little bit more, mainly because I kind of miss her. Love flying the Queen out there, and we're going to put her back in the sky a little more heavy than we have here of late. Don't worry, those of you that love the Airbuses and loves that Zebo, as I do, they'll make appearances also along the way. So, but today we're going from Melbourne to Sydney, as I like to call it, down under flying. So I'm just getting something set up here to help me out a little, and then we'll press into the flight. So as you can see, the only one drawback, and I think it's with all sims, don't get me wrong, this is no cut on any sim, that you can't get both jetways working without secondary programs like SAM, auto gates, and stuff like that. I kind of wish could, but I understand on the coding side of it, you know, it's a little bit much. So I get that. But currently we are boarding people. We've already got the limited cargo between Melbourne and Sydney aboard. Doors are even closed up already. We're just kind of waiting on the lollygaggers to get aboard. Where are we in the lineup here? We're only 95 people into 344. Somebody go down there and tell them to kick up the pace. We only have an hour and 58 minutes. No, actually, it's shorter than that, believe it or not. So, anyway, folks, we are getting ready to go. We are in the Felis 747-200 Classic. And I would be remiss without pointing out the pretty boys up front, captain, first officer. They're the ones you all go, boy, thank you for such a great flight. You guys did great. But you know, all that applause goes really to the man behind the curtain. That's right, don't mind that guy behind the curtain. Don't mind him. But he's the one that made it all smooth and enjoyable for you back there. Monitors everything aircraft related, from the engines to the pneumatics to the electrics to the air you breathe, and how much humidity is in the, well, he doesn't really monitor that, but he monitors a lot, plus fire control and the all important galleys, folks. We back then, food was pretty cool on airplanes. Today, eat your bag of peanuts. Leave me alone. So, Matt Air, welcome aboard, welcome in, welcome all. So, I hope y'all enjoy the ride, and we'll get this firecracker lit up here after the break. All right, looking here, my screen said we were going to a break, and it lied to me, folks. Can you believe that Twitch lied to its users? Ah, I tell you. Anyway, so we'll continue on, and if it does go to break for you, my apology, but it should be in a break right now, so don't know why my other computer is not showing that. All right, so in the Felis here, folks, as I was trying to poke some fun at the crew here, it is flown by 3 people when it flew back in the day. Today, it doesn't fly anymore. I don't even think it's in the roster. So, and yep, there go the ads firing off. Wouldn't you know? But today it isn't in many, if any, rosters. The last would be cargo. So, and it was a good cargo hauler, folks. You could stuff this thing, and boy, it did the job for you. On the passenger side, wasn't bad either. I mean, you could put nearly 400, 500 people in it and, fly a pretty good distance. Today, we'll run through the flight plan here in about 12 seconds. So give us time to get things up here and ready for them as we come out of break. And there we go. Now we're out of break. So again, Twitch being Twitch and twitching all over the place. Um, we're just going to keep rolling here, folks. So hopefully, if you should or would miss anything, hang on a second. I actually have that link right at my fingertips. A couple of clicks and I'll have it in there for you. If you miss anything, head over to our YouTube channel. And likewise, YouTubers, if you'd like to be part of this live show, which you never know what will happen, we'd love to have you over here on Twitch. But again, Twitchers, if you miss anything, there's a link to our YouTube channel. A lot of videos up there. Feel free to subscribe, like, love to hear your feedback. All right, so today's flight, like I said, Melbourne to Sydney. Folks, it's really not a long flight. It's not a even, well, now if this was in Europe, you would think it's a long flight because that'd probably be 2 or 3 lines long, the flight plan. Uh, just kidding there, guys in Europe. but you know it's true. But anyway, so we're going to be flying out of Melbourne. We're going to start at the Melbourne VOR out on the H129 to DOSEL, J59 to TESAT, which happens to be right over the airport, and we're going to aim for the 1-6 right arrival. So that's the game plan today. Let's take a look at it. Weather here in Melbourne. Well, the weather is frightful. Oh no, it's actually kind of nice here. It's kind of tranquil. Broken at 3,400, temperature 10 degrees, and winds are 200 at night. So, like I said, overall, kind of a tranquil day down here in Melbourne. And last I checked, I believe it's not much different up in Sydney. So, 230 at 15. So you're gonna have to strap the toupees down a little bit, folks, if we're up in Sydney. We don't have any sky condition reports, and we are showing an unlimited visibility. So 12 degrees up there. Might want to muckluck. But anyway, and 1021. So really, everything is pretty copacetic. Yesterday, talking with Hawker prior to this, thought we might be doing another 0-0 landing as we did with it into Tokyo last week. Video, by the way, folks, up at YouTube if you want to watch it. First Cat 3 all-out arrival in with this aircraft. I have not done a Cat 3 auto land at all in it, so hence why some of the landings are kind of hideous. So, all right, final thing we'll look at is how many peeps and all we have. 79,000 pounds of payload with 344 peeps, and the delay in them getting on the plane is because they're signing their non-disclosure agreements. Once they're all aboard, we'll button up and go. 52,000 pounds of fuel we'll use to get to Sydney. Cambria, I think is how you pronounce this airport, as our Canberra. Sorry, I had to actually go to Simaware to find out. That is our alternate. They wanted to send us back to Melbourne, and that's like double the fuel load. And like, no, why have so much fuel that we're not going to need? Albeit they'll just load on top of it because this flight continues to Honolulu. Not with us, but that's in the real world back then what it would do next. All right, and then cruise index, as you see, Mach 0.85. And we're going to get her up to 37,000 feet. So pretty much get up, hold for a few minutes, and then come right back down, probably. It's about a 380-mile flight. So just for your gee whiz, look what I learned today. It's 380 miles to Sydney. All right, and then I'd pull up the operational flight plan, folks, but it really, truly is rough. I'll give you a sneak peek at it. Give me a second. Here is SimBrief, a free utility that you can actually log into a browser, do all your stuff, but you can also do it from within Sim Toolkit here. So just so you know, and it's free. All you got to do is register. All right, but anyway, here is what this format looks like. It's called the United, I believe, 18. And actually, it's pretty good, especially Airbus drivers. It has your tropopause. I'll get back to these in a minute. Tropo, and a few other things that find their way on Airbus flight plans that don't necessarily hit the Boeing stuff. So kind of some neat stuff, but different from the American one we use for both American Virtual and a lot of the stuff we do here. I really like that one. It's missing the mileage portion to alternates, which kind of helps in some areas like this plane. We'll show it to you real quick. So I just wanted to give you, that's how you can actually look at this. But it's, not bad. It throws these charts that you normally find at the bottom of most flight plans right at the top. So there's our route. Significant, I believe, weather. Is that one? Yeah, significant weather. None. A little bit of tail end of a system here. Winds at 30,000, 34,000, and 39,000. And then a vertical, a kind of a horizontal. If you were to look at this flight from Melbourne to Sydney, left to right, horizontally, how it would go up and come down and how the winds would relate to that. If that makes sense. That's just the way I kind of see the chart. And then you actually get into the meat and potatoes. A little bit of gravy thrown in on the side. Your clearance can be put in here. Here's what we're pushing out on VATSIM and so forth. So, and then of course all your NOTAMs and all the funny stuff down at the bottom. All right. So, but anyway, it's like I said, you can pull it into here and it's a real nice tool. So speaking of tools, let's get in here, pull Sim Toolkit away, and let's look at the flight here. Okay, so there's our 344 people. They have finally got on the plane, Moffat. Now we have to find our chair. Pardon me, excuse me, pardon me. But anyway, how did you get to this point? You come back here, go to the load calculator. The load calculator is just that, folks. Set up your load. Keyword that I just used, set up. You do not load it from this page. So what I'll do is come down, hit 75% of my packs. It's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 290 to 300, somewhere in that ballpark. And you can keep clicking 75% and the number changes. Now, if you want to fly what your virtual airline or whatever is perking you that day, you can actually manipulate more or less by your mouse. You can go up, you can go down. And by the way, it did not affect what just loaded, what I just did. That's actually done on another utility that Felis has. We'll show that in a second. Do the same thing with cargo. Now, in the case here, well, what I'll do first, load my packs. After I cough, then I'll head up and do my cargo. No. Once I have my packs in, I want to come over here and look at my zero fuel weight, compare it to what the flight's requiring. We are actually about 600 pounds over what we were forecasting, I think it is, which is fine in my game. Actually, 60 pounds over. Oh, Muffy, you're going to have to leave that fur coat behind. The fox has to stay. So you get it as close as you can, and that's what I do. And if you go over, guess what? It doesn't matter to the VA. All right? If this number, zero fuel weight's higher than what's predicted, don't get overly, oh my God, they're going to reject me. No. Let me show you why. Because your fuel, even your fuel will be different than SimBrief. This takes into all the factors that are going to give you your fuel burn. First off, how far are we going? 420, I think it is, miles. I'd have to go back to SimBrief real quick. We're going, I'll give you it, 418 miles, okay? You're either 400 or you're going to be 450. I went up. Just gives you a little bit more fuel. 37, that's our desired altitude. This one's tricky. Think of it here's how I figure it up. When I start moving the mouse wheel here, as it goes up positive, I watch my fuel. It should go down. That's a tailwind pushing you, but it's your component. Likewise, if you get negative numbers, that fuel should go up because you're pushing into wind. That's how I figure out if I'm doing it right. Here's where that I talked about American airline format for SimBrief gives you that page one, if not, down in the fuel. Not only the fuel needed to get there, but how far. All right. So, and then the rest of it, you know, um, oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Contingency. I'm going to plan a 10%. And again, I'm just driving this number closer. And I want a 20-minute taxi. Here's your fuel alternate and reserve. This is what I use, folks, anytime I set this number. So when I'm in the FMC and it comes up to reserve, that's exactly what I'm doing. Whatever my alternate is, plus the reserve that's required, which for the US FAA, 45 minutes. So whatever it takes for me to get to that alternate, plus my 45-minute reserve. Now, I'm sure there's a few other little tidbits that dispatchers that from time to time pop in here will argue with me, and that's fine. And we can argue because you're right, and I know I'm wrong. But this is what I go because it's the easiest numbers to pull out. Okay. Then your final resorts, that all tells you here's your CGs, and you can even look at your load sheet. Now, taking this information, putting it into the plane, click the little house home up here, home button, the house. Now you got two categories here, refuel, exactly what it says, refuel the plane. Click data sheet. That way, whatever's on that data sheet fuel-wise plugs in here. Then you choose how you want to do it. Do you want to call the tanker and add that amount? Do you want to call the tanker to reach that amount? Or do you just want to instant refuel? And every flight I do, folks, that's the one I do. I've had trouble up here with these, and I don't know why. And I haven't done them in months, so I may try it offline here one day just to see, if it's working, if I'm doing it right, because I know it's a me issue. It's all about me. I know it's all about me. No. But seriously, I do know it's something I'm not either seeing properly or uh, it's like I said, it's all on this guy's end, that loose nut behind the wheel. So I just choose the instant and be done with it instead of letting it take its time like it does when you load the passengers. Speaking of passengers, to get them little boogers loading in, you go to payload. Guess what? Yeah, you got to click it again. Use load sheet. Okay, you're going to get your people to board, your cargo to board. Here's what you're going to have. Here's what the block fuel. Here's what the CG will be. Blah, blah, blah. You get all of that. But down here, we'll start 0 and 0. Might even crew out 0 until you hit board, and that may be the first number. Boom, on board. You've got board and load, and what that will do is Buffy and Buffy will take their time getting on the plane, just like they do in the real world. Cargo is going to have Jeannie outside, put her hands together, nod her head, and poof, it's on the plane. No, literally in some cases it feels like that fast, folks. So, and if you haven't seen I've Dreamed of Jeannie, great show, old show. Some of you are going, I've never heard of that one. Look it up. It's actually pretty good. Barbara Eden, and for the life of me, I can't remember his name. God rest his soul. I can't think of his name. Um, but anyway, board and load will do it real time. Same with deplaning. We'll do the same thing. And you can instantly say, get off my plane. And they're gone. So, all right. And that's it. And then you got a few other things to play with here. To include our favorite one coming up in a second. All right, we're going to do the performance calculations real quick. We'll go 10 degrees flap. We're kind of light, folks. All right, make sure everything's clear on the screen real quick. All right, so 1-6 is going to be the animal we take off on at 11,000. We're going to call it 12,000 feet, folks. It's only 2 feet off. Airport sits 434 feet. Again, we're going to round up. because it's not set up to even go to 50. So you're either going to 400 or 4 or 500. We'll go up. Runway heading 160. Again, you're seeing it doesn't do individual numbers, so you would round. Sloping, you can get that information, folks. If you have it, use it. I highly recommend it. It does help your aircraft. Sim Toolkit does have it. I'll show it to you real quickly here. Okay, there's Sim Toolkit. Come down. There's your departure. Look, it's got elevation. Oh, it's even got the heading. Oh, it's even got the length. Boy, you're knocked 3 of them out right there. And there's your slope. Negatives down, positives up. So 0.8 or 0.9 if you want to put it. Let's do it. Why not? I haven't done that in a while. Wait a minute, we're negative. Let's see here. Yeah, negative 0.85. I guess we'll go 0.9er. There we go. And again, negative is down, positive is up. Runway condition, you can only get this one way, folks, and that's with, again, runway condition. There's what it looks like from the METAR or NOTAMs if they report them and all of that good stuff. Most airports do. You just got to know the verbiage. The U.S., you'll find a FICON and 3 numbers. Look to see what it says, wet, damp, snow, hail, volcanic ash, pick, whatever the contaminant is, but it'll tell you if you're wet or dry or contaminant or snowed. You got wet, damp, and dry. Okay, outside air temperature, we did cover that, and I have forgotten. Bear with me here, folks. I am going to go check out Sky Vector. Get a quick METAR off here. 1020. I think I have to do it in inches of mercury. I'll show you how I cheat. And the temperature is 10 degrees. And I think the winds are, no, I don't think they are, 210 at 9 as of the last report. All right, so the barometric pressure, I want to say is like 30, 36 or somewhere in that ballpark. Here's how you cheat. All right, because it has to be inches of mercury. Put it in. Today's barometric pressure is 1028 QNH. And there it is, 30, 36. See? Works every time. All right, and that sets up everything here. Now, don't forget, click load sheet to get all the correct data in on your aircraft. One thing I like about this takeoff calculator versus Zibo and the Airbuses, it actually tells you runway lengths. Get to that. Here's your V speeds. V1, V rotate, V2. 1 is your safety speed. Up to that point, you reject your takeoff for any major problems that'll prevent flight. Above that speed, folks, you commit to flight unless it's catastrophic, like 2 engines gone instead of 1. And then you may still be able to get the plane in the air. You got a quick couple seconds to make that call, though. Rotate, I think we all know what that means. That's when the nose comes up for takeoff. V2 is your safety speed. All right. And then your flap speeds, which this will delineate over here. I'm going to pull back now. So you can watch that it really does it. Okay. So you can see the speed bugs that you see, these little guys here. Well, you would manually set these in the real airplane. Today, modern technology, we just click set speeds and whoa, they're in place. There's your V1. Just like it says, you've got a bug for V1 rotate. Flaps 10 up, flaps 5 up, flaps 1. So we're again taking off flaps 10. So we start, there's where we could start retracting at F10. This bug right here, and then 5, and then 1, and then we're up by 220. Now I kind of zoomed in to make it look weird, and you can see we have to have 2,000 feet for takeoff. Don't know of many 747s that get off that quick, that loaded, but in a domestic low fuel in the wings and center tanks, that's possible. So, oh, sorry for the sniffle. But our corrected runway length is what? 12.9? No, it's not. They including something they're not showing on the chart? Oh, well, that is incorrect. So, now, initial pitch will be 18 degrees. Stave trim, we'll set it to 3.1 if it's not there already. Optimum climb, let's spend a couple seconds. Many of you know and will tell ATC I have to do 270. You are technically better have your data to back it up. Now, if you're going from, say, Frankfurt to Chicago, you know, you can fly to 10,000 feet with flaps out. Okay, just so you know that. It doesn't carte blanche you to 270 because you're in a heavy. You can fly with the drag. I hate to break it to you. If ATC says yay, then you get to go yay, flaps up, and, you know, boogie on down the road. If they say no, you get to put a frowny face on because you're going to have to hold at 250 and keep 1 or 2 degrees flaps out. All right. Optimum climb here is 10,000 feet and above. 10,000 feet and above. Now, if you want to be a lazy pilot, get the clearance, and you can then roll up the flaps and tell them what speed you like. And they, again, can say yay or nay. Keep that in mind. Just because you're a heavy, it does not give you carte blanche. Now, what it will give you, the next airplane isn't going to probably take off for 4 minutes. Just so you know that. Because of the wake turbulence. All right, so enough on that. So we're ready to go, folks. All I got to do is a quick, let's get our flight plan thrown in there. And I'll show you how I do this to a point. It's not going to let you see it all. But you go back to Sim Toolkit. This is how I do it. And you can also do it in SimBrief. You can also do it in a few other flight plan programming softwares out there like, Professional Flight Planner, of course, SimBrief, and there's a few others out there. Those are the only 2 I use. Okay, you see in the drop down, go to VATSIM, and that's as far as you'll see Sim Toolkit here, folks. Sorry. The rest of it's on the browser. And it's just going to bring up what you all know it will bring up, the flight plan. Make sure it's filled in as you'd like, mainly the equipment. Now, I went ahead and threw the equipment code RN for RNAV. Technically, back in the day, you didn't fly RNAV. Why? And think about it. Matt, you're not allowed to answer. The correct answer is you didn't have that capability. You have INS, yes. The old planes had that barbaric system I don't like. And the main reason is I got a code once and I couldn't get it to clear, which disabled my INS forever. I don't know what happened. And I got so frustrated, I just said, I'm not going to fly the Classic anymore until this great FMC program came out back in the Century of Flight days. And it connected to my plane and any plane. And away we went back flying that beautiful Ready for Pushback Classic. So that's why I don't fly it. I just don't want that to come back on me again. It was it was so frustrating. PMDG had its problems with me too. And for a while there, I wouldn't fly the 747 for PMDG. I went back to the 200. So there was problems with it too. So, and I just broke some people's bubbles there with that one. But anyway, so we put the code in for that. So make sure your equipment's right. Of course, always make sure it puts in your PBN, which is your RNAV equipment. And I'm sorry, your is that your radios? If I can't remember PBN. I know our moderator may know that one, but anyway, I can't remember that one off the top of my head. PBN for the equipment on a plane, but your nav is your RNAV equipment. Registration, you can make sure that's right. I always put the RVR in at 100. Actually, today, you know what? We're going to go 75. Just in case I have to. So, all right, performance, we're going to have her at a D, and we're going to submit, and, I hate submitting to authority. Anyway, and we'll be up on VATSIM here in a minute. I'm also going to fire up my ACARS program for Piedmont Virtual. That's who we're flying for today. It's a historical airline group. Northwest, Ansett, Pan Am. Go figure. They throw Piedmont in there just for the fun of it. And I'm not talking the little puddle jump version of Piedmont today. We're talking one of the big guys that helped set up U.S. Airways. As best I understand it, and I was pretty young back then, not real young. I was in my 20s, teens to 20s when U.S. Air came on the scene. So, flew Piedmont a couple of times. Nice little, they were a nice airline. I kind of wish they'd have stuck around. All right, we got that going. All right, so I think we'll come online here. Connect. Not 800, we're going to do 812. And did I change my standard? Don't want to confuse anyone. Oh, good. I didn't even put one in. What I'm talking about is my cell cal. I'll use my normal. It's not a big factor today, but in 15 or so days from now, some of you are going to learn about that in Cross the Pond. Coming up, going west. Is this the one we go west? I think it is. US to Europe. I didn't sign up for it, folks. I actually think I'm working that day. So wouldn't have been able to fly it anyway. So I just, God bless you all that stream it. I love you guys that you're able to do that. It's hard, I know. It's hard enough flying 8 to 10 to 12 hours, depending which airports you end up with on that. So, hats off to you. All right, so we are ready to go. We got the basics set up here. We got no ATC. Flight plans loaded. And let's do some checklists. What do you think? How we doing on time here? About normal. All right, here goes the before start. Now, what I'll do a lot of times, do a quick rundown through here and see if I know for sure I forgot anything. Then I let it go.
Before start checklist, please. Gear lever and lights. Down and check. Brakes. Parked. Start levers. Off. Radios. On and check. Flight control hydraulic power. On. INS. Check and nav. Compasses. Slaved. Window heat. On. Seatbelts and no smoking. On. Emergency lights. Armed. Exterior lights. Hold on.
All right, before I do anything here, couple things real quick. When you run these checklists, a couple background things are expected between the crew here. One, you're ready to push back. Technically, we're not. So, we're not going to have, what would you have when you're ready to push back? The beacon on. We're not going to have the packs turned off yet. The people when you're in the hot, sunny, humid, steamy areas of the world, they get upset as those packs are turned off pretty quick. They'll go, Miss, it's getting hot in here. It's gone up 0.2 degrees. I'm sweating. So, um, so it pre-assumes a couple things in here. So just so you know that, we're gonna skip it for now. This can be found here next to the pilot. Over here, if you're so inclined to fly it as the co-pilot, and back here with the flight engineer. Okay. So to skip it or check it, we're going to go ahead and check it. Continues on.
Check. Altimeters and clocks. 1028. Set and cross check. Radio INS switches. Radio. Radar and transponder. Standby. Indicator lights. Check. Engine and wing anti-ice. Off. Stall warning. Check. Mach airspeed warning. Check. Auto brakes. Check and off. Body gear steering. Arm. Anti-skid. On. Autopilot and flight director. Check and off. Takeoff warning. Check. Autoflight enunciators. Check. GPWS. Check. Instrument warning. Check. Flight director computer selectors. Check. Instrument source selectors. Normal. Reserve brake valve. Closed. Spoilers. Down. Static selectors. Normal. Oxygen mask and regulator. Check and emergency off. Brake pressure. Check. Stabilizer trim. Check and on. Rudder and aileron trim. Check. Checklist completed.
Okay, so that took care of them. Now here we're going to be kind of fooling it a couple times. I'm just going to start it. I don't have the EPU on yet. Let's get that running. Because he ain't going to like me if I don't do that. Okay. I started it early. I should have waited for the light to go out. This light is your door light. I started it early. And basically the only thing that's saying is, hey, guess what? The door's open, you're free to get air. All right, I was noticing a little problem on the Twitch screen. Hey, Insuik, how are you? That is so true, Hawker. If you were hot and sweaty on an airplane without air for a bit, yeah, you'd be a little agitated. Yeah, try flying a Dash 8 in Pennsylvania in the middle of summer, and the packs don't work. Yep, wife and kids did that. Oh my gosh, U.S. Airways. Actually, that's Allegheny Airways on that one. One of the other major players that came into U.S. Airways. Relegated to being an art regional carrier. All right, so we got the EPU running. Let's do a quick battery or a generator check on it. And what we want to make sure is the generators will put out what we need. However, need to close the top half. I thought that was a fix I saw in Felis, but maybe I misread or more than likely that loose nut forgot and misread the terminology. All right, so APU, good. Always click that to get it back to 0. Good. And back up. All right. So once we know that's all good, guess what we get to do? Close the bottom half. And that immediately pulls us from the external power, because now we're running on the APU, and we can come now over here before we run this, and before we forget,
Cockpit to ground. Disconnect ground power.
and disconnect. Cargo doors show closed already.
Ground power disconnected.
All right, only thing left are chocks and the front door. Would you please close the front door, kids? Letting all the air out. All right, back to the checklist. Here we go.
Battery on. APU panel. Check. Auxiliary power. Check. Engine oil quantity. Check. Fuel quantity. 61007 pounds. Fuel panel. Wait.
Okay, remember I told you it is expecting the plane to push back and fire up. I've right now got my boost pumps off. I am going to go ahead. Actually, first off, I want to show a little. You look here, you see all your lights, right? Except that one. Remember, guys, in the 737, if you do it like you're supposed to, are supposed to turn a fuel pump on because it's not done automatically. The 747 automatically turns on the proper pump for the APU for you. But we need them all to fire up. And it won't let you if you don't have, those are empty. Only ones with fuel.
Check and set. Pressurization controls. Check and set. Bleed controls. Wait. Check and set. Hydraulic quantity. Check. EPR computer. Wait.
All right, another little gizmo here. Most of us, even today flying, don't see much of. And it's this lovely gauge, the EPR one. You could set it to GA. Actually, I've never done it. I might do it one flight. I'm not going to do it this one. But we're going to leave it on TOD. No, folks, that's not top of descent. Takeoff dry. So, used to be a whole, you look them up with the GEs and the Pratts back in the day, a whole different way of, thrust into the engine. I will screw it up every time I try to talk about it, so I don't. So, all right, continuing. We will check.
Circuit breakers. Check. Indicator lights. Check. Electrical panel. Check and set. Air conditioning controls. Wait.
Okay. Packs off is what it's looking for, but you can fool it.
Check and set. Fire control and wing overheat panels. Check and set. Equipment cooling. Check. Passenger oxygen. Check. Hydraulic panel. Check and set. Fuel jettison panel. Check. Crew oxygen. On. Oxygen mask and regulator. Check and emergency off. ADPs. Off. Checklist completed.
All right, so we are ready to go. Hang on a second. Insuik put in here, I had the first sim flight in an Airbus A340-300 in about 15 years. X-Mods, X-Works mod, which works off the A330 if you all didn't know that. It's a decent mod. You don't look for it, he says, to be like Tolis or Zebo. And in parentheses, yet. But still enjoyable. I am thinking about getting it downloaded. Going to be really curious to see how many A340-300s take to the sky and cross the pond. It's always fun when the new guy hits the block. And especially very close to across the pond, because they end up being like the top dog across. Yeah, Hawker, what? You're going to fly? Somebody there in the office better walk over to Hawker and check him out. He may be having some trouble there. He said he would fly an Airbus. What? I paid for a 38-meter runway and used... Wow. Nice. So it's actually performanced out good, too. Now your day has been thrown off. Yeah, Hawker, you blew... Poof, my mind just got blown, folks. All right, so we're ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and close that outer door. Actually, we're going to do this first.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. On behalf of the entire crew, welcome aboard the Boeing 747 Classic. We will depart shortly after we have our clearance and the cabin crew is finished with their preparations. For now, I wish you a pleasant flight, and I will be back during the flight with further flight information.
All right.
Cabin crew, arm slides.
I'll be doggone. They closed the door when I did that. That's cool. All right, and they've got one more part to play in this. When you click 2, you get arm slides. They close the door, and eventually you get a call saying, ready?
All doors are closed and armed.
And then...
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your chief flight attendant. And on behalf of our captain and the entire crew, I wish you welcome on board. Please take your seats and fasten your seatbelt. Also make sure that your tray table has been stowed away and the back of your seat is in.
No, I'm not going to make you go through that. However, to point some things out on this plane, again, I like giving an introduction to it. You can control the speakers. Watch, here's the PA speaker.
To release your seatbelt, lift the upper portion of the buckle.
Which means you get that obnoxious pilot or controller who thinks he has to be heard on Mars. Turn him down. All right, so let's get better pushback up here.
And ground to cockpit. G'day, mate. Go ahead and show me where you'd like to fly now. Ground to cockpit. Toes driving up right now.
All right. So we're caught up. As you saw, I think, with better pushback. I like that over most pushbacks I've used, folks, because I can get into some pretty complex backing maneuvers that are out there. So I really and truly do like that. Brake double checking is set. Please brake.
Cockpit to ground. Remove the chocks. Chocks removed.
I wonder if you just INSWIC need to pull it out and put a new one in, because I haven't updated this one at all.
Ready to connect.
Hawker, and it comes with a lot of different voices. Oh, you tried? I had a feeling you were going to say that, INSWIC. I had a feeling. But yeah, Hawker, this has different voices. When we're in Spanish-like countries, there's a little Spanishness to it. Hong Kong and them, a little of the Far Eastern hint to the talk. I really like it. And folks, we are ready to push.
Toe connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake when you're ready.
All right, real quick, let's see where we left off at before start. Next checklist is after start. So you know what? Sounds like they're done in the back. I say we release the parking brake.
Parking brake released.
Alright, starting the pushback, and you may spool them. Clear to start engines.
Shall spool 'em indeed. Please forget I do have to do it this
Ready
way.
to start the engines.
All right.
Engine start.
Engines starting on this, technically in the real world, they could do 2 at a time. In the Sims, I don't get so bold, but yet I still get somewhat bold. First off, get the packs off. You need air to start these engines. Okay. We're going to start engine 3, then number 4, and then 1 and 2. This time we're going to use system 1.
Starter valve open.
As soon as he says starter valve open, you can let up on the valve. Oop. Now you can just pull it down and look here because he'll tell you, or you can watch it over here spooling up. Right there. I had to find number 3 real quick.
And 2.
All right. Now, as a warning to everyone,
Fuel on.
because it's happened to me more times than I'd like to admit, and Felis can back this up. If you fire up, you'll hear all of what you just heard, but what you're waiting on here for, stabilized, or some form of that. You don't get that, folks, you're in the wrong version, in the wrong sim. Very easy to do in XP12, unless. And I'll show you that here in a minute.
Engine stabilized.
That's what you're waiting to hear. And how you get around that, folks, you go right here, remove that check mark. And all you'll see is XP12, so you can't accidentally hit 11. Because it will do that if you're running XP11. Okay, since we're doing this one.
Starter valve open.
I never can reach it right from at this angle. So I just go up to the overhead. And there it is, spooling up. That's your N2. Don't have it over here. And again, when he says 20%, take the fuel lever and go to idle.
Alright, operation complete. Go ahead and set the parking brake.
Parking brake set.
Alright, mate. Disconnecting toes, stand by.
20% and 2. Fuel on. Light up.
And then we can watch them spool up here.
Starter off.
And again, not that verbiage, it's what comes next. Engine stabilized. And folks, we'll be right back, hopefully fully fired up here in a few seconds after the ads run through here. It should only be about a minute.
Engine stabilized.
Okay. Rest of you all that are subscribers, you get to hear me continue.
Starter valve open. Starter valve open.
There we got two of them spooling up. Now I don't know why we're not to brake yet. I tell you, Twitch.
Toes disconnected. Bypass pin, yeah, it's removed. I'll give you thumbs up on the right and catch you next time. Have a safe flight.
And 2.
Okay, that'll be engine 1.
20% and 2. Fuel
That's
on.
engine
Light
2.
Up. Fuel on. Light up. Starter off. Starter off.
And 1 second, folks.
Engine stabilized. Engine stabilized.
Alright, folks, sorry about that. I got one of those lovely text messages across my telephone saying I had a package from UPS delivered. Unless they were bought out by FedEx and called Fed Up, I'm fed up with UPS doing that all the time. No. No, I know it's a hacker out there trying to get a hold of it. Just gave me some fun. Alright, so we're up and running here. All engines are on, stabilized, and ready to go. And somebody brought an A340 to the party here. I see it sitting out there, folks. Alright, first thing I want to do is close. I think it's there. Then head over here to the electric panel. And let's get on the engines onto the bus. That is the electrical bus, not the air bus. And then we want to, I forget what the split is up here. We want to make sure we close that. Okay, and look at our checklist here after we'll get over to that in a minute. So basically, we want to make sure our starter switches are off, our beacon lights are on, check our brake pressure, start levels in idle. Make sure if we need engine ice, we turn it on. The electric panel we just did. Make sure we open the pack valves and the door warning lights are out. The hydraulic panel is set. Take a breath and let's push on. All right, so back up top. All our start switches are in the off position. Start valves closed. Over here, we've got the aircraft currently on the internal engine power now. So I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the bleed. Start bringing our packs back online. I guess I'll leave that in auto. All our packs are on. And we're on, so I can go ahead and stop the APU. Working our way through here. Packs are on. Go auto, 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 auto. And looking down here, 15. I think we're okay there. And all right, let's go ahead and run it. Like I said, folks, that EFB is right here as well.
After start checklist. Flight recorder.
Right there.
On. Start switches. Off. Beacon lights. On. Brake pressure. Check. Start levers. Idle detent. Engine anti-ice. Off. Electrical panel. Check. Pack valves. Open. Dual warning lights. Out. Hydraulic panel. Check. Flight recorder. On. After start checklist completed.
Okay,
Flaps
we're
10.
going to flaps 10. And I do know we're in a break right now, folks, but we'll just keep going here. Okay, and you saw how things showed that they were in process of moving. Right here's your panel for that. Next. All right, takeoff data. Takeoff is set. Radar's on. Transponders on. We need to get the stabilizer set. Okay. And when it says in the green band, what you're going to do is right here. Go nose down so that it extends the green band all the way. Simplicity at its best sometimes. Flight controls. Oh yeah, probe heat. Let's get that one first, then we'll get to our flight controls. And what I do here, folks, I always keep it blanked out. Right here on your panel is how you take care of. Sometimes it'll be your numbers. Sometimes it'll be this weird little icon thing up here. But your panel is right here. And I'm going to go ahead and go into center. Just kind of watch as we go through the different control surfaces. Aileron. And yes, it's kicking up that inner. This is your aileron. This are your spoilerons. They come up when to help turn the aircraft. Okay. Up top, you're seeing the needles move for the elevator. Okay, and just below them, you're going to see the needles moving for the rudder. And that's a good check. And then I always kind of wrap it up with just kind of making sure everything looks good. All right, and I think we're ready on that end. Yaw dampers, F cargo. It's the only other thing, and then we're going to get going. Okay. Let's start it.
Taxi checklist, please. Flaps.
I think we just taxi
Flaps
straight
10.
ahead here,
Flaps
folks.
10. Takeoff data, EPR and airspeed ducts.
Straight ahead.
Set and cross-check. Stabilizer trim. Set in green band. Probe heat. On. Flight controls. Check. Yaw dampers. Check. Parking brake released. Seatbelt and shoulder harness. Check. APU. Off. Fuel heat. Off. Totalizer and gross weight. Set. Flight engineer and pilot panels. Check. Aft cargo heat. Normal. Seatbelt and shoulder harness. Check. Taxi checklist completed.
Insuik, I'm headed for 1-6. And I'm on the move for you. Had a feeling that's who it was. All right, we got one more that we can do while we're en route or before takeoff. So we just got our cabin alert, but we'll double check, make sure our transponders, put our ignitions to flight start. This will hold on. Then we'll close our packs, pressurization mode set to auto, full boost pumps on, and so forth. Okay. All right. Melbourne traffic, Clipper 812, taxi 216. All right, we're taxi lights on. I am going to all the way up. Now, this aircraft is equipped with TCAS, folks. Right here. And you can test it on the transponder. Here. I'll let you get a good look out the nose there as we head on down Alpha to 16. All right. Test switch is right above my arrow. Ident, if you need to, is right there. You can all do that all from the onboard transponder. It's just not a lot of things you can do. All right, we're going to run it. First off, let me get that cabin alert.
Cabin ready.
Cabin crew, take your seats.
Melbourne traffic, NZ580 pushing back from gate Delta 20, Melbourne.
Okay, here we go.
Before takeoff checklist. Icing considerations. Check. Cabin alert. Check. Transponder. Check. Ignition. Damn.
Okay, real quick. Learned this, actually kind of ticked me off once, but it's really nice now.
Light start.
Boom, right there. You see the two arrows? Right there?
Loading and steering.
Right there. Okay. Quick, do I want the whole runway? Yeah, what the heck. Always nice to be airborne before you think it will be. Go ahead and check it. We'll get it on the runway.
Back valves.
And we'll
Let's
hold
see.
till we get on the runway. Melbourne traffic, Clipper 812 heavy, departing 16. Now, what are the body gears steering? Sorry to blow out your eardrums on your headsets, folks. Watch the gear right under the fuselage. See how it pivots? That's your body gear steering. Whew. That even got my ears, folks. We'll turn it back down when we're outside. One day I'm going to play with that in cruise off stream and get that set the way I want. We have that decent here. Called cleared for takeoff, so we're going to take the runway. Going to go ahead and start. Now, I have the VHF here set for Melbourne and runway heading. So technically, I should be able to follow the needle out, get cleaned, start cleaning the airplane up, and then we'll do a right-hand turn to come back over Melbourne and onto our flight plan. Or at least that's the story I'm going to try to stick to. All right. Now, remember, we're held right now because of PAX, okay? But I'm going to go ahead and set our body gear steering like we should. Lights. Get over here, get the rest. Get over here, get the PAX. Folks, do not forget this.
Closed. Pressurization mode selector. Auto. Fuel boost pumps. On. Cross feed valves. Check. Before takeoff checklist completed.
Okay, just so you can see, the next one is after takeoff. And if you want to run it through your mind real quick, it'll be gear, landing lights and logos, ignition switches, seat belts, PAX, fuel to auto. All right, here we go, folks. Cleared for takeoff. And I'm going to just set 400 here before we make any turns. Here we go.
Stabilized.
Come on, girl.
Cross set. 80 knots. V1. Rotate. Positive rate. Gear up.
I love that warning from X-Plane.
Flaps 5.
Okay, and I am going to go ahead, knock out one problem. IAS.
Flaps 1. Flaps up.
Okay, and last but not least, Toja's going to do that right-hand turn.
Melbourne traffic and Z580 taking off runway 16, DOSEL 1, departure, Melbourne.
Now see, they can fly some of the RNAV departures out of here. Technically, this plane can't. So you have to, unfortunately, respect that. Get wings level here. Real quick call for it.
After takeoff checklist. Gear lever. Off. Landing and logo lights.
Okay, they'll be on till 10,000 feet. All right, now we're gonna make our turn. Go due north. $9,400. All right, lights off.
Off. Ignition. Check. Seatbelts and no smoke inside. Check. Back valves. Open. Fuel heat. Let's see.
I'll get that in just a second, folks. All right, so back to VS. Now remember, what was our speed? 296, I believe it was.
Melbourne traffic and Z580 clear runway 16 on the DOSEL 1, departure. Last call, Melbourne.
All right, folks. All right, we have a repairman here, so we're making some quick changes here. All right, let's go direct Melbourne. Start at 296. And as we get closer to it, folks, we'll set it into IAS climb. And I will get that going so we actually stop at the altitude selected. And we're now on course, crossing over the VOR and getting ready to head outbound. IAS. All right, and we are configured. Now, what I did here is I moved the switch from radio, which means it'll be whatever we set these dials up here for, to INS, or in our case, FMS. You will know it as GPS on some airplanes. It's what we did. We also had forgotten to put it in altitude select, so it would have just continued to climb instead of level off. And now we're in the INS mode, so it's tracking the GPS / INS if you're using it, or FMC in my case. And I have one more item to attend to over here.
Auto. Off the takeoff checklist completed.
There we go, folks. We're on our way. And now you see how that all works together when you set that optimum climb at 10,000. Away she goes. You could turn the logo light back on if you're one that likes to advertise across the route that you fly. And since we're through 20,000, I'm going to go ahead and kill the wing light. And since we're 10,000 feet, better than the transition level, let's go back to 2992. Hang on. And yes, old eyes need it zoomed in. And it's set over on the other side, but you do have to set your backup. Proving it to you. Sure. 2992. And then I always come up here and adjust it right here as well. But I leave my altitude 1,000 feet higher. Cabin altitude's the white one. And this is your barometer and another barometer right there. There you go, folks. We're on our way. Hope you enjoyed that departure out of Melbourne. I did. That was actually one felt really comfortable with. So, oh, wow. That really felt good. All right, let me get back into chat here and see what all I've missed. All right. And we'll be right back. All right, folks, we're out of the ad break there. But yeah, hope you enjoyed. I was just checking through chat. Doesn't appear I missed anything other than we had a good departure by Inswick in the X-Works A340-300. He's right. There hasn't been one on the market in a while. So I hate to say it to those other simmers. It's free over here in X-Plane. But anyway, I was kind of on the fence if I was gonna download it, but you know what? I think I will. It is a fun plane to fly. I used to love flying it when I had set up an airline, Virtual USA Airways. We code shared like US Airways did with Lufthansa, and I flew the A340s, 300s, 500, 600, I think it was. And folks, they're fun to fly. You know, I enjoyed the 330s, the 340s, and I really love flying the 319, 320s from Tolis and Flight Factor. So really, they are really good aircraft. And I get where some people are a little, you know, hesitant with them. But then again, I can see where people are hesitant with Boeing too. So it doesn't really tell you as much as people think it does. So, and likewise Airbus. So, But anyway, we're on our way, and really beautiful flight. I actually really thought we were going to do another auto land into Sydney. Looking at the weather last night and the TAFs and going, yeah, this could be another auto land, and it'd only be because sun's in my eye and I can't see. I don't think that constitutes visibility. Maybe it does. I don't know. I was only a private pilot way, 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 way back when I could fly formation with the pterodactyls. So, oh wait, legally I can't fly formation. You didn't hear that in the FAA. Oh, all right. So, oh no. Yep, I'll bet. I've never, flying it, I've been in the sun a couple times with this and it hasn't been too bad. What I've been running into, and I'm now starting to see some of the big payware aircraft, the wipers aren't really working. They're not clearing the windshields. So I don't know if that's just a where the wiper meets the glass kind of deal adjustment in the coding or what they're doing. But I've noticed they're fixing a lot of them. Because that was the big problem into Narita. I could not see through the windshield. The wipers weren't clearing it. So, now, let me rephrase that. In the real world, landing an airplane at 140, 50, 60 knots, depending on your speed, how well does the wiper really clear it? I'd love to, actually, real airline pilots, I'd love to know how well how well they do. On the ground, yeah, they're going to work like any car. But I'm curious, at the speeds that you come in at on approach, how well do those wipers really help you out? All right, we are just about to switch it into Mach airspeed up here for our hold because we're just about at Mach 0.85. I'm blathering here and not realizing we've got to fly the airplane first. And then I'll actually go ahead and put it in Mach on the EPR. But I want to get the climb established now off that. Let's do that now. Basically, all it's doing now is taking that Mach number and holding the pitch to maintain it. But I'm going to go, like I said, a step further. It's that same gauge down there, folks, and I'm going to click Mach. Oh, and I just killed everything. Dang it. That loose nut behind the wheel, you got to get him away from it sometimes. Okay, we still got altitude select nav and now Mach. I didn't put it in climb either. All right, and we're coming into level off. One day we're going to work with this over here. If I could just get a good feel of how to use this to work, maybe that'll help us get longer rolls on the takeoff. Don't know. But folks, welcome aboard. Thanks for being a part of Flying with Mike today. We appreciate you. We've been kind of off close to a week now. I had some training I had to do at the airport. Just took the test last night. Kind of very uncomfortable with... what a test. Very uncomfortable. And tomorrow I get to find out yay or nay on it. Oh, what a test. So, but anyway, we're back in the saddle, as I said, and getting a flight in here, if for anything, to bring sanity back into my head after that test. All right, and we are going to set this closer to the number we need, even though it really isn't what's controlling this, but that should do a good number right there. So glad to be in the air tomorrow, or not tomorrow, we'll be back at work, finding out how well we did on the test. Wednesday, we'll be in the air for sure. Thinking Zebo from Chattanooga to Memphis. Of course, you all know how short that flight is, so there's possibility of a second stream. Possibility. Thursday, I'm sorry, is kind of up in the air. It kind of depends what happens on Wednesday, what we do. Oh. I just saw us drop 400 feet here. So as soon as I get that needle to 0 here, we're going to go from altitude select to hold. What the heck? It's like bouncing all over the place here. Answick, are you right above my plane putting me in wake turbulence? Holy mackerel, it's like it won't hold. See what happens. I'm going to throw it in altitude hold. All right, that seems to be doing it. I know what it is. It's those guys over at Felis making sure we put them in altitude hold with the latest update. I get it. I see what you're crafting over there. Also, there was a huge discussion on landing altitude that we're used to setting in a lot of the Boeings. You don't do that here, folks. All right, and I think we're looking good overall. Packs are on, no alarms going off. Yes, if the alarm's going off, you are a ghost plane. Because you forgot to hit the pressurization level. It's happened a couple times, folks. Not just the golfer. All right, and I'm going to check something here real quick. All right, folks, we're going to go outside the aircraft, so if you're on headsets, be warned. I did warn you. I love doing that. And one for Hawker. All right. Always love doing that. All right. Gets a little bit of volume back up. I'm curious. Hang on a second, folks. I'm going to play with something over here. Was it options? Yes.
CC79 at the go down.
Ah, dispatch has arrived. Folks, we're way ahead of, schedule. Oh, that did what I think I wanted it to do. Cool. Welcome NB Bad Attitude. Dispatch is on the deck. All right. Just in time, we're going to go. We are doing well. I'm just very nervous of a test we took for the FAA yesterday. Actually, for AAAE airport executives, and very, very nervous. But that'll be tomorrow. Today is today. Let tomorrow's worries be tomorrow. Get enough of them today. All right, so let's take a look at this, folks. We're getting ready for the arrival. Oops, I clicked the wrong button here on charts. There we go. All right, so we're going to bring charts in, talk about the arrival real quick. Okay, now you see charts up here, folks. If you haven't noticed, a lot of changes over the last couple of version updates have come along. The big one being weather. It just started off giving us the radar, which, you know, you got to have radar returns for it to show. There they are off the coast. So that's really cool. But now it's become interactive where I could leave that up, throw in, say, what do we want to do here? Air SIGs, no, not that one. Where's the one I want? But you can see all of these you can throw in, and, well, we'll just do the radar for now. I can actually take it back so far and run it. We can watch it advance. So we can see this rain is pushing towards Sydney. So, and you can do this with all of those features here. Let me open it up one more time. Oh, I got to click it here. Sorry, folks. All of these things, there's some of the stuff I was looking for. Tropopause, we talked about that. Your visibilities, I mean, everything here, folks. You can put to a time loop and get an idea how it's moving, going. I think that is just one of the best things they ever brought to the flight sim world. Granted, it's a fee for it. You got to pay, you know, a little extra on top of your FMCs if you're that kind of pilot. It keeps those fixes and VORs and all of that good stuff in there up to date. It's a great tool to have because, folks, it has just about every airport out there, instrument airport out there's charts. And some of the VFR ones if they do have charting. So, really great tool here, folks. Great tool. Love this thing. But anyway, we're going to head over here to Sydney. And we really do not have a star, although technically the rivet is potentially one, but the rivet is an RNAV approach. And I talked about this in the beginning. This aircraft really was not an RNAV aircraft. Yes, you have the SEVA. Most of them, that is what they flew with. If you've got the coordinates for all those fixes, great. If you don't, you can't do it, folks. So you would still fly the standard ones where you would fly to like a VOR, NDB, or a point in the sky off of them, and then work your way in on it. So we're set up to fly direct to what's the name of it? TESAT, which happens to be right over the airport. We're going to go out, probably kind of like we did in Melbourne. Get the wings level, keep them level for about 30 seconds to a minute, make our turn. Or, if the weather's decent enough, drop into the pattern and come in for a landing. So we'll kind of gauge that out as we get there. So no star inbound to Sydney. Currently, I am planned to put us on the ILS for runway 16 right. And headwind 10 knots, crosswind 2 knots. We don't have any METARs. Oh, I'm sorry, any, well, let's check. Weather? Nope, we don't. Oh, wait a minute. Do we have an ATIS? No, we don't. If there's a digital ATIS out there that it accepts, it will put on there, including VATSIM, IVAO. Don't think pilots, whatever it's called, would be out there on it, but those would be on here. Pilot's Edge, and if there's a real one that it picks up on. But the METAR is currently 250. Whoa. We have had a wind shift there, folks. That would bring us in on the 3 2s? No. 3 4s. Well, Batman, I think we are going to make a en route change. How about that? Let me see if we're set up yet on our FMC. I don't think so. No, we are not. Alright, so we are going to have to do a little bit of updating here. While they are in a break for a minute, give me a second to change it up. Wait a minute, we'll do it the easy way. Alright folks, you can get an idea here how we do this. First off, we hit cancel. Then I'm going to get out of, keep the telemetry, but we'll get out of that. Alright, and we'll change the runway over 234. Boy, this is like a 90-degree. You know what? I think I am going to keep it 16. Oh, holy mackerel. Yeah, we'll keep it 16 for now because that's 50. It's a 90-degree offset on the runway, and it's kind of aiming it towards. So, yeah, we'll keep things as is. All right, folks. Reading that METAR made me really hesitant here. Just make sure. Yeah, we'll, I guess, bring her in on 16. Ooh. Well within the tolerance of a tailwind. But, wow. All right. So we are going to go ahead, go with the 16. And the dog is just not liking today. Got that technician in here. We had a little issue with the refrigerator. Mainly the door. And hopefully we'll get that all squared away. Alright, so again, 250 at 10. Okay, our cloud layer is 6,400 feet, folks, for broken. That's our ceiling, not 56, it's 6,400. Okay, VFR planes are allowed at 5,600 feet. Just got to stay out of them. Broken, it's pretty tough to stay out of them. Okay, so as I look at our chart here, folks, we're going to, like I said, overfly Sydney. And then we're going to basically enter a left pattern for the ILS, or just enter the pattern if we can see the airfield. Airfield sits 21 feet above sea level, so if we drop down to 3,000 feet, we should theoretically be able to come in, maybe even lower. I may bring us right down to pattern level. All right, so across the top, you got your frequencies to deal with from ATIS all the way over here to ground, first two layers. Next up, this is our ILS. So this will tune in right here. And if we think we're going to go auto land like we did in Sydney, we have to dial it in on the other side, plus the radials up here for the arrival. Final approach course, which we dial in up here, like I was saying, 155. IGLA, right here, which is 5.5 miles-ish out. Minimum speed, folks. You can't have to be above 150 at here. The reason being, we all know Sydney is a very busy airport, so they're keeping speeds up. After that, you can drop the power and glide in it if you wanted. Good luck with that, though. But it's 1,700 feet on the glide slope. ILS decision altitude is 210 MSL. MSL is your altimeter. 203 on the AGL, which is what the brackets mean. That's your radar altimeter. So I'm just going to dial it down. 210. And I don't think you're able to see that. We'll show it to you again. Don't worry. Okay. Airport elevation, runway elevation. You go ahead, read the missed approach procedure, folks. It's pretty close to straightaway. We make a slight turn and end up at, we just climb out and ATC tells us when we're allowed to come back and play again. Okay, requirements here, GNS, DME, localizer, all the fun stuff here. And also it's telling you, at Yurden, make your best speed. 185 is as fast as you should be going. It's also telling you between 160 and 185. So you're keeping your speed a little bit up, but not much. IGLA, 160 to 150. And then from then on, you're then for what it takes to land. If your aircraft is unable to, say you're a Dash 8, yeah, you could have troubles with that. Or, you know, other aircraft, fighters, could have a problem with it. And give me a second, folks. All right, folks, just checking up on, since I wasn't able to go out with the repairman to find out what's wrong. Looks like the old famous, let's do an adjustment here and a nip and tuck there. And it's back and working. All right, so again, if you're unable, tell them. You know, don't be afraid to not tell ATC, our airplane's not capable of those speeds. I'm flying a Cessna 172. All right, so here's the path now. Oh, wait, first off, our minimum safe altitude, 10 miles around the airport, is 2,100 feet. All right, so got a lot of warnings. You all can read those. Just beware, there are simultaneous approaches in the real world, in the sim world. Doesn't happen often. But again, there's our ILS. Erden, that's 11 miles out. We're bouncing around again, aren't we? then IGLA, then 4.1, 1.1, and there's our missed approach. Okay. Here's the vertical. Now this tells you altitudes you should be at if the glide slope's not working. Okay, that's very important. Sometimes those glide slopes go out, folks. So you now need to kind of get a gauge to make sure that what we predict here is actually translating here to get us down on that 3-degree glide slope. So that's actually a really cool thing to have. It's a shame not a lot of airports seem to go that way except outside the US. But again, the big chart though, and people kind of overlook it, but this is your your ground speed coming down the slope. 3 degrees is what we're looking for on an ILS. So I'm guessing we're going to be pretty close to this 140 on our approach. So if we do about 743 feet a minute, and I know, look at that gauge real well. This is your vertical speed indicator, TCAS. I know you can tell it right now. We're 743 feet a minute. Come on. Where is it? Come on, come on. Anyone? Anyone? That's right. You're going to have to guesstimate. So I get it. But if you keep it between 800 and 700, folks, guess what? You're probably pretty close. And then when you pop out, you'll see the pappies and the land, hopefully. And then I wish it would put the times, but it doesn't. And it's missed approach to 1.1. So right to there. Then it tells you your approach lights to expect, all SIF2s, pappies, both sides, and then your missed approach. This is something important for me right now. No circling beyond 3 miles Sydney east of 16 right. So I need to go up this side. Okay. All right, so we're not allowed to do what I was going to do, which was overfly, come around. We have to come in and come this way. I figured they'd want me out over the water. What I get for thinking. All right, and finally our minimums. Minimum cloud height, overcast or broken, 210 MSL, and you'll probably see it more often than not AGL, 203. They don't get that close to it, folks, but if you're under 200, you got to go to the Cat 2, Cat 3 arrival. Your range for visibility is in meters, so we got to have at least 550 meters, or 0.8 kilometers. Now, if you have a flight director, if you have an autopilot, a HUD, so it's just telling you what you can and can't do. And then number 2 is if the intensity on the runway lights is out. They have a procedure for that. All right, and then when we come off, we'll be parking to the left side in the international area. And by that I mean we'll be parking over here. So we'll come off. Wherever we exit, we'll taxi back on Alpha. And I think I'm going to shoot for either these pens or these pens. We'll see. I think a lot of the American carriers end up here. All right. But again, they're just a small portion of what we have out there. All right, and again, what I've done is set 210 on, oops, I don't have that gone, sorry. All right, 210 I set on my radar altimeter. Got one chore to do here, folks. And then we're going to be pretty close to top of descent. Okay, let's go into click departure arrival, Sydney, arrival, ILS, what do we say we're running? 16 right. Yep, that'll work. Boom. All right. And there we go, folks. The FMS is planned. TSAT. Now, I am not going to close the discontinuity here. The reason being, again, TSAT is technically right there. See where it's at? It's right over the VOR, basically. So, we would have to track outbound. Technically, I could, but there's no procedure turn built in, folks. So I'd still have to do a procedure turn to come back in. Otherwise, we just go somewhere here, or maybe rivet. Maybe I will just go rivet direct. Work my way in. Or we don't have ATC. So yeah, why don't I just do that? Doink. And doink. Execute. Make sure it doesn't start turning on me. And hang on a second. Okay. I think we're now in Sydney's range. Okay. Sydney is... Yeah, we're coming in now on Sydney. 112.1. 50 miles out, and guess what we need to be doing? Coming down. Let's bring it down to 5,000. Okay, altitude select, VS, and we're going to start down. Maintaining as best we can Mach 0.85, but we're not going to let that control our pitch because we could get really far off. So, but anyway, folks, we're just about there to Sydney. Nice, fun flight. Get us back in the saddle. Where are we turning to? Oh, goodness. We may actually have to go into a hold. We're over rivet. I did not realize that. Okay, we need to get down to bad pilot. Bad pilot. Talk too much and we are direct for the ILS. We need to get down to 3,000. He says cautiously. Okay, at 300. Okay, that's where we're at. We're going to go into an indicated speed. All right, we're going to go ahead and put the people. Let's make sure our descents are good. I know we're not going to make it. We only have 31 miles. So, how do we get around this? Oh. All right, let's get the aircraft straight again. Let's do it from this angle. Reason I popped this back to INS is so I could get my course again before I set it up. Actually, I can set it up here to 155. All right, so everything is set now for it to be on heading. All right, now we can do this. So 03 will be roughly 22. All right, we're gonna hold left turns. I know everyone's gonna tell me you're going the wrong way. I'm always going the wrong way, folks. Probably should have been a right-hand turn, but I chose that way. And what we're doing is using the hold to help us come down. I'd like to be, with these 30 miles, approaching the 10,000 foot mark to get us in play here. You can see we're only 16 miles right now from the airport. See if we can actually see anything. Oh, it looks like it's right under the clouds. Nice airport though, right below us. Another thing I could have done, folks, is gone up to and then literally did that precision turn to come back, a procedure turn to come back. And we are taking up a lot of sky, folks, at this speed to do this. Give you an idea just how much. All right, we're in a hold right now, folks. Here's how much real estate we've ate up right now in this turn. We started here at about Rivet, a little past it. Look, we're only about the halfway to way through it, a little more than, before we come back and hit it again to land here in Sydney. And again, the magic mark is right there. We're coming on 23,000, so seatbelts back on, since I didn't turn them off for them early. Spaceman! Okay, that's fine, Spaceman. Appreciate it. I knew you weren't avoiding me. You're never busy, man. Come on. Really? Count the number of sheep going through the eyelids don't count. But anyway, hey, not a problem there. I know you're a busy man. I try to be one, but never, thankfully, does not happen anymore. And no, unfortunately, this isn't with Pan Am Virtual. This is with Piedmont. I saw this flight and thought, hey, this is a perfect one to get back into the swing of things. So, but nice to see you again, sir. Nice to know you're still out there and kicking. Just hope it's never kicking me. So, all right, so we're going down to 3,000. Go out here just about a minute or so, we'll turn back. Just for those curious, here's how much real estate we've eaten. All to get in this little quick racetrack to come back and be at the right altitude. But because of the speed we're at, the altitude we're at, that's why it ate it up so much. There's technically speeds for what altitude you're at. You're supposed to bring the plane down to, so it doesn't eat up that much airspace, folks. That's a lot of airspace I ate up, especially for the departures out of there. And technically, it says we're going through rain. Hang on, let's do a real quick check here. I don't know. Maybe it's that imaginary airspace rain. I don't know. I'll be nice. Maybe it's over here. Maybe there's a drop or two hiding in that direction. Nope. All right, we're going to go ahead and turn it back. All right. You want to know the easiest way to find it? You guessed it. All about that, folks. Get her into the turn. Through 17, but we're not at transition yet, folks. All right, now we'll set it back up. About right about there, because I could have done it here too. But all right, so we turned that off. We'll be, wow, why is there such a disparity? That's why. There we go. Okay. And now we're turning back inbound, folks. Okay, once we reach 10,000 feet, things begin to clip here. Let's get back here and set our cabin altitude before I get yelled at by by the passengers back there. Okay, we're on auto. Altimeter, we'll go ahead and start setting things like that up, is 1021. Well, we know 1036 was pretty close, so we'll try it there. What was it? 1021. $30.15. I'll take it right there. All right, folks. And then all we got to do is set our altitude here to 1021. And then it'll automatically set over there. And also, I'm going to go ahead and dial back. Put in a little speed brake input.
Cabin crew, prepare for landing.
Okay. You heard it, folks. Of course, there's a checklist. We're just going to kind of read it.
Give me all
so much for the 50 bits. We appreciate that beyond belief. Thank you, sir, for your kindness and all. We are definitely looking at a new airplane. The one that I got, I really am wishing I'd never got, but we'll find something here. So real quick, seatbelts, anti-ice, exterior lights, auto brakes. I think we just heard 10,000. Yes, we did. So that means this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. All on. Auto brakes to medium. You know what we haven't prepared for, folks, and we're going to here? We see how our speeds are doing first. Okay, we're going to ease up the descent. Cabin's ready.
Cabin ready.
Okay, that's what we want to hear. Okay, we're just now under 250. Let's get our performance in here real quick from the load sheet. Runway. 13,000 feet. Elevation 0. 160. Try. Real quick on the conditions. We are 13. Bear with me a second, folks. Okay, 13. 31.5. 250. Oh, now we're 220 at 17. Still some pretty fierce winds. Okay, so we're looking at 133, 143. Here's our distances down the runway. These seem about right to me. So, okay, and let's go back to the checklist.
1,000 level off.
Okay, let me see where we are here, folks.
Sydney traffic, NZ 580 on the left-hand downwind runway 34 right, Sydney.
Oh boy. Oh, that's right. We're not on INS now. All right, so we got those all set. We're not set on this one. Get our ILS set. If I have to, I'll turn back. 1095.
Flaps 5.
Sydney traffic, Clipper 812. Intercepting the localizer 416 left, approximately 16 miles from the field. All right, folks, we are set up for the ILS. We're just making sure we don't fly through it like we have here a couple times. There we go.
Clipper 812, please confirm you are landing on runway 16.
Localizer live.
Landing on 16 right.
Thank you.
Oh. Okay, got the missed approach plugged in. You're in maximum speed 185, folks. Then I'll start slowing us up. Let's go flaps 10.
Flaps 10.
And not yet. 11 miles. Let's call it 150 now. We slow down to.
Flaps 20.
And Sydney traffic, Clipper 812, 16 right over Yerdin, the initial fix, slowing to 150. About to grab the glide slope. Glide slope. Minimum set, flaps 20. Okay, missed approach altitude set. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and run it.
Approach checklist, please.
Seatbelts and shoulder harness.
Check.
Seatbelts and no smoking signs.
On. Gear down.
Anti-ice.
Off.
Exterior lights.
Check. Flaps 25.
Outer brakes.
Medium.
Radio INS switches.
Radio. Gears down. Green light.
Flight director computer selectors.
Check.
Brake pressure.
Check.
Spoilers.
Armed.
Altimeters.
1013. Set and cross-check.
Landing data, EPR, and airspeed bugs.
Set and cross-check.
Seatbelts and shoulder harness. Check. Fuel panel. Check. Fuel lead. Off. EPR computer. Go around. Cabin altitude. Check. Circuit breakers. Check. Approach checklist completed.
Landing checklist.
Gear.
Down and check.
Down and check. Flaps.
Flaps 25.
Flaps 25.
Flaps 30.
Ignition.
Light start.
Anti-skid. check. Altimeters. 1013. Set and cross-check. Landing checklist completed.
Okay. And Sydney traffic, Clipper 812, 5 mile final, 16 right. Last call.
Sydney traffic, answer 580 for this update ILS 1034 right, 5 miles DME, Sydney.
Definitely a good crosswind here, folks.
Glide slope, 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 glide
I am
slope,
not sure why I can't get
glide
full
slope,
power out of these
glide slope,
engines.
glide slope, glide slope, glide slope, glide slope, glide slope, glide slope,
Pausing.
glide slope.
What the heck's going on here? Off. We are idle and nothing working.
Glide slope.
We are
Glide
not
slope.
going to make the field.
Glide
I
slope.
can't even command a
Glide
go
slope.
around.
Pull up. Pull up.
Approaching minimums.
Pull up. Pull up. Pull up. Pull up. Pull up. Pull up.
There's part of my problem there.
Pull up.
I am
Pull up.
commanded full
Pull
power.
up. Pull up. Pull up.
Flash 20.
Pull up. Pull up.
50.
Pull
40.
up.
30. 20. 10.
Now I get full power. What the heck? Why did I lose throttle control?
60 knots. Auto brake off.
Completely lost throttles, folks. I had no command of the throttle. Well, I'm going to come off here, and I have no idea what was the cause of that.
Sydney traffic, answer 580 is vacated runway 34 right, Sydney.
And Clipper 812's off 16 left with a lot of problems with Felis. Autopilots were off.
Indeed, traffic, Francis 161, stand 60, clear impression start, face off, Sydney. Sydney traffic, answer 580, taxiing via Bravo, Charlie, crossing runway 25, right on Bravo to gate 3, Sydney.
That happened to me one other time, folks. I was into Gimpo, and I had no throttle control. I wonder if it's because of that. Auto land, it did fine. I don't know why it didn't here. I even tried pulling flaps up thinking something happened with full flaps. But what you see right there, folks, I had 0 throttle input availability. All right, well, let's see how poorly this is going to reflect over at the virtual airline, if at all. Okay. There we go. Bleeds. Off, 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 off. Whoop. Off, off, off. Off, off. Pretty much everything goes off now, folks. All right, let's turn off all the lights. And these.
Cabin crew, disarm slides.
All right. Well, let's that was just bizarre, folks.
Sydney traffic, Shabaya A02 pushing back from gate 5-4, and I'll be taxiing to the runway 34 left, Sydney.
Okay, sorry for all the pause there, folks. I'm just still trying to go through my mind everything that misfired on this. On me or this, one of the two. Okay, sorry for the screens. I'm just making sure I can just cleanly go through this. Okay.
After landing checklist.
Brake pressure.
Check.
Body gear steering.
Arm.
Outer brakes.
Hold on. Off.
Ignition.
Sydney traffic,
Engine and wing and the ice.
taxiing 34 left,
Off.
5 golf,
Radar and transponder.
cross runway 07.
Stand by.
Flaps.
Continue Alpha 6.
Spoilers.
Down.
Stabilizer trim.
7 units.
Outflow valves. Open. Pressurization mode selector. Manual.
Sydney traffic,
Fast
Shabaya
cargo
A02 will be following the compass to the runway
APU.
34 left shortly,
Check.
Sydney.
Checklist completed.
All right, folks, we have another checklist, but we're going to just leave it. I am really still completely not sure what the heck happened. Definitely going to be getting in contact with Felis to find out what I was doing wrong, but I had no throttle input whatsoever. So I'm not sure if I'm supposed to leave the auto throttle on. Don't know. Maybe that's what I did wrong. Or shut it off down on the EPR. So, another learning day with the aircraft. But I do thank you all for watching the fun landing with me as I went through it. And yeah, it's interesting things. And I hope. Good, I didn't. I thought I had that up. All right, but again, thanks for being a part of Flying with Mike. Let me close out and see. Nope, we're not going to file this with them. Wait a minute. Yeah, what the heck? You only live once, right, folks? Let's see. All right. Come on. Here we go. Oh, it did. Invalidated. Okay. Yeah, I kind of figured it was going to do that there. And it should have. All right. Well, that kind of is a bummer, but it is what it is. Uh, well, what happened? We'll show it. I mean, it's easiest to show in the replay. Hopefully, it'll let us replay. All right. So, okay. Um, Piedmont was more forgiving with it than I am. All right. Let's bring in some toolkit. Let's take a look at this. Okay, obviously the landing rate is way out there at 1,400 feet a minute. There's our hold, there's our flight path basically. 381 is what's scheduled for it. And we landed at 1,400 feet a minute. And let's see if it even puts us on the runway. It shouldn't. Nope. Good, it did. It kept us out here from the runway. Yeah, it's just horrible all around. So, but again, great stuff here. Teaches you a lot here. I was even on this side of the runway just because we basically lost control, folks. It's called it stalled. So, I don't know what really happened here. Ugh. All right. So, what we'll try, and I think, well, I'm actually kind of shocked. It did at least close. Did I bring in the jetway, or is that just right up to it? I didn't think I did. No, I didn't. Okay. All right, so let's try and take a look at it, shall we? All right, we're off VATSIM. Give it a second here to clear the screen. I really hope it lets us get a feel for what happened. Perfect point, because everything's looking good right here. Okay, you see the throttles are working fine. I've actually got them turned down. I don't know, though, if this takes into account the last state. But as I got below 140, the throttles just went completely out. And landing speed's 133, by the way, folks. Yeah, we don't even show our flap settings, so I don't know how much of this is going to be accurate. All right. The throttles are not moving. And I am pushing it to the max on my end. And see, we're right now down by stall. Have yet to see the throttles move. And I'm mashed all the way forward. You'll see them come alive once we cross that river. Brought the flaps up thinking that might help. That's what caused it to hit even harder. Actually, it didn't look like it hit all that hard. Now you got, see, now the throttles came alive. So I don't know what happened there, folks. But I was able to make the first taxiway and be able to get into the gate real quick. But anyway, on a positive note. All right, folks, well, we're going to call it there. Again, don't know why we lost complete throttles on this. I'll be sending a email off to them. But yeah, see, they're working. Parking brake is set. 311. But we hit the actual 3 key. Ground. Let's set the chocks. So, folks, I don't know what happened. Yeah, it really, it unbelievable. But, you know, these things, I know it's called simulator. It's called not, you know, what you expect in the real world. And so it is what it is. Get our jetway up to the plane. We'll start unloading so you can see that. And we'll call it a day, folks. Few more seconds here. Okay, go back over here to the doors. We'll get those cargo bays open. Open up number 1. Let's check ground. Everything's open. Payload, deplane, unload. And folks, that is going to be a wrap. Got a lot to learn on this plane. The do's and the don'ts, because who'd have thought that was a don't? Clipper, gem of the ocean, sits in the gate where it wasn't expected. Car goes off the plane. And we're going to have to go ahead and sign out of here, folks. But again, I want to thank you all for being a part of Flying with Mike. It's always a pleasure to fly online with y'all. Check us out. Click follow if you want to see where we're headed tomorrow. Chattanooga to Memphis. Who knows, from there maybe where we'll head. And then Thursday, we're going to try to bring the Queen up and do a little better flying skills. Or hopefully have learned what we did wrong. All right. So, from all of us here at Flying with Mike, thanks for flying. Hit that follow button if you're in Twitch. That way you can follow along on our next adventure. YouTubers, smash that like button if you liked it. Hit that subscribe button. Love to see you all when we release a new video. All right, so we will see you tomorrow. Hope you, or I'm sorry, not tomorrow. Correction, back the truck up. Wednesday is our next flight. Sorry about that. I'm all screwed up because that test yesterday has my mind all flustered still, and now this flight adds to it. Oh well, it is what it is, folks. Welcome to flight simming, and look, we all walked away, so it really was a good landing. We'll talk to y'all later. God bless. Have a great day.